Well, as you were talking there, Senator, there's a documentary I recently saw, and it talks about a lot of the stuff that you're talking about there in regards to the legalization of marijuana, which I fully support as long as it's in allocated areas, because there are people that have problems with secondhand smoke. So if we have areas where they can do this, also at the same time, I fully support the legalization of industrialized hemp, making hemp paper, using hemp and cement. 1942, Ford makes a vehicle that's made out of hemp, that runs on hemp. So why aren't we having that right now?
I didn't know that, Reg. You're right. You know, I don't particularly people. I don't smoke. I used to smoke when I was a kid, but I don't now. But you're right. And I always am struck when you go into an airport and you see people congregating in a shut-off room where they're all smoking. You know, they're all hastening to die of cancer is all I can think of when I see them in there.
Yeah. As an ex-smoker myself, there, Senator, I basically I'll look at people going to cancer stick, but that's their choice. I'm not going to infringe on their basically their choice at all, because I believe in freedom.
Keep them in the room. Don't let them contaminate the rest of the public areas. That's right.
And also, I'm a big supporter of the war resistors, being that I served almost 9 years in the Canadian military. Right now, our government is so bent on supporting these illegal wars over in Afghanistan and Iraq. I look upon them as a modern-day Vietnam War. At the same time, the war resistors, the U.S. war resistors that don't want to fight, have come across the border to Canada, and our government is now trying to deport these people. There's one person that...
I got to tell you, Reg, here, let me interrupt you. I'm ashamed of Canada's role in that regard. I was proud of Canada during the Vietnam era when they were taking what I considered the courageous Americans who decided that the Vietnam War was an immoral war and would rather leave the country than serve in an immoral war. But now, with Canada's change in policy, I just am horrified with this. Well, I'm just horrified. I mean, this is not the Canada that I've come to love over the years.
The question I have for you, Senator, there's one gentleman, my wife and I, we're going to go to a protest tonight, and this gentleman's named Rodney. He has a child that was born here in Canada in December of last year, and they're talking about deporting this gentleman. The question I have, is the U.S. government finally going to basically give the pardon to the U.S. war resistors and say, we're not going to pursue any prison time with you, you can come home if you wish, or you can stay in Canada?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I wish that they would. I just sincerely wish that they would. And I just don't know. As you know, the Obama administration talks a great rhetoric. They're a little weak on performance. I would hope that he would investigate that extensively, and I'm sure there's a lot of interested public interest attorney groups that are more knowledgeable than I am, and he should really contact and investigate that before he comes back and gets himself in trouble. But I just don't know. I'm not informed on that subject. I just have so much time and effort to give, and I give it to this concept of the national initiative, trying to empower people. But I'll tell you, the people who refuse to serve when politicians initiate these immoral wars are the courageous people. The people who go and defer to immoral authority are the weaklings. They really are. When you're given an order, like here, this is a very extreme comparison, but I think it's equally accurate. When you're a German soldier, you're given the order to go ahead and shoot a person, a woman and child, because they're Jewish. Should you obey that order, or should you not do it? Well, I think morality would dictate, if you have any morality, not to obey that order. Well, what is the difference between a soldier, either a Canadian or American, that is sent to a battle zone and winds up in a situation where he has killed a woman and child in a panic or as a result of a set of circumstances that he is inadvertently thrust into. It's not as bad as a direct order to kill a person because he's Jewish or they're Jewish, but it is bad. It's immoral, and a person should be able to reason that and discern that and react accordingly and disobey the order. That's what citizenship is all about when push comes to shove in a real democracy.
I fully support that, Senator, because what happens is we had Hilmer von Campe, a former Hitler youth who grew up in the Hitler regime sort of thing. He was born in 1925 over in Germany. And what he did was he served in 1943 from 45 over in the Eastern Front. And later on in life, he realized he was lied to. And he's dedicating the rest of his life to atoning for the crimes that the German people did to the people of Europe and the world. And to me, I basically admire people like that because they're standing up and they're saying, look, this darkness in the past happened, and they're teaching the children so that way the children don't make the exact same mistake. And at the same time, I also, as a veteran, I serve my country, but I also, at this time, I serve my people of Canada. I swore allegiance to the people of Canada. I have publicly renounced my allegiance to the Queen. I do not recognize a foreign power as head of our state. I recognize the Canadian people as a head of our state.
That's right. And if we can get the Canadian people to adopt the national initiative, they will really be the head of the state, and you won't have any barriers in front of them. When you talk about the Queen, it's great when you see the movie, the one that Helen Mirren played the Queen in, and I'm a great admirer of Helen Mirren as an actress. You see that these people are really not all that unusual. They just happen to be born into these positions. But they're not very, very swift, really. They're, if they had to rely on their own talent to gain a position in life, I don't think that they would rise very high.